We headed towards Cordoba on the Avenue train with a change in Madrid. La Juderia is the historic Jewish quarter of Cordoba and one of the most atmospheric areas of the Old City. Its narrow, winding streets preserve the medieval layout from the time when Muslims, Christians, and Jews lived together in the city during the period of Al-Andalus. Walking through La Juderia feels like stepping back in time, with whitewashed houses, flower-filled patios, and small artisan shops tucked into tiny alleys. During the Middle Ages, Cordoba was one of the most important cultural and intellectual centers in Europe. The Jewish community played a major role in medicine, philosophy, science, and trade. One of the most famous figures born here was the philosopher and physician Maimonides, Rabbi Moses ben Maimon, whose ideas influenced Jewish, Christian, and Islamic thought. Today, visitors can explore several important sites in the quarter. The Mezquita Cathedral is the most famous monument in Cordoba and one of the most extraordinary architectural buildings in the world. Its history reflects the complex religious and cultural transformations of Spain. The site originally held a Visigothic Christian church. In the year 785, the Umayyad ruler Abd al-Rahman I ordered the construction of a grand mosque. Over the next 2 centuries, successive rulers expanded the structure, creating one of the largest mosques in the Islamic world. Inside, the building is famous for its vast forest of columns and arches. More than 800 columns made of marble, granite, and jasper support striking double arches of red and white stone. This unique design created a sense of rhythm and light that made the mosque one of the masterpieces of Islamic architecture. After the Christian reconquest of Cordoba in 1236 by Ferdinand III of Castile, the mosque was converted into a Christian cathedral. Instead of destroying the original structure, the Christians built a Renaissance cathedral nave in the center of the mosque. This unusual combination means that today visitors can see Islamic architecture surrounding a Christian cathedral choir and altar. The Mezquita Cathedral represents more than a religious building. It symbolizes the layered history of Cordoba, where Roman, Visigothic, Islamic, and Christian cultures all left their mark. Today it is recognized as part of the UNESCO World Heritage Site of Cordoba's historic center and attracts visitors from all over the world. Together, La Juderia and the Mezquita Cathedral form the heart of historic Cordoba. Walking between them reveals centuries of history, culture, and coexistence that shaped one of the most fascinating cities in Spain. The small but historic synagogue of Cordoba, built in 1315, is one of the few medieval synagogues that still survive in Spain. Its interior features delicate mudéjar decoration with Hebrew inscriptions carved into the walls. Nearby streets such as Calleja de las Flores offer beautiful views of the city's most famous monument, the Mezquita Cathedral. Cordoba is a city where different eras of history stand side by side. Walking through its historic center, you encounter monuments that tell the story of Roman power, Islamic rule, and later Christian kingdoms. Three landmarks that capture this layered history are the Triumphal Arch of Puerta del Puente, the Roman Bridge of Cordoba, and the Calahorra Tower. The Triumphal Arch of Puerta del Puente stands at the entrance to the Roman bridge and acts as a ceremonial gateway into the historic center of Cordoba. Although it looks ancient, the monument was actually built in the 16th century during the reign of King Philip II. It was designed by the architect Hernán Ruiz III to commemorate the monarch's visit to the city. The arch is made of pale stone and features classical architectural elements such as columns and decorative reliefs inspired by Roman triumphal arches. Positioned between the city and the bridge, it symbolizes the transition from the urban center of Cordoba to the historic crossing of the Guadalquivir River. Today it is one of the most photographed landmarks in the city and marks the entrance to the monumental area near the Mosque Cathedral of Cordoba. The Fernandine churches of Cordoba are a remarkable group of medieval churches built in the city of Cordoba after its conquest by the Christian king Ferdinand III of Castile in 1236. When Ferdinand III captured Cordoba from Muslim rule, the city had many mosques that served different neighborhoods. To reorganize the city under Christian administration and religion, a network of new parish churches was created. These churches became known as the Iglesias Fernandinas, or Fernandine churches, because they were founded during the reign of Ferdinand III. Their construction mainly took place during the 13th century. They served not only as religious centers but also as focal points for the social and administrative life of each neighborhood. Each parish church defined a district of the city, helping to integrate the newly Christianized population and settlers arriving from other parts of the Kingdom of Castile. Architecturally, the Fernandine churches represent a transition between Romanesque and Gothic styles, often with strong mudéjar influences due to the local Islamic artistic traditions that continued under Christian rule. Most of them were built using stone masonry, with sturdy bell towers and simple but elegant facades. Inside, they often feature three naves separated by arches, wooden ceilings, and later additions from the Renaissance and Baroque periods. These churches form an essential part of Cordoba's historical identity. They illustrate the transformation of the city after the Christian reconquest while preserving artistic influences from the Islamic period. Walking through Cordoba today, the Fernandine churches help visitors understand how the medieval city was reorganized and how Christian and Andalusi traditions blended in architecture and urban life. The modern side of Cordoba shows a very different character from its famous historic center. While visitors often focus on the ancient streets near the Mosque Cathedral, the contemporary city spreads outward with wide avenues, modern neighborhoods, universities, shopping districts, and parks that reflect how Cordoba lives today. One of the clearest examples of modern urban planning is the district around Vile Norte. This long boulevard was developed in the late 20th century over the former railway corridor and today serves as one of the most modern areas of the city. Glass office buildings, hotels, cafes, and residential towers line the avenue, creating a contrast with the narrow medieval streets found closer to the old town. It is also a major commercial and business zone where locals come to shop, work, and relax. Education plays an important role in the modern identity of the city through the University of Cordoba. Its campuses bring thousands of students to the city every year, giving Cordoba a youthful and dynamic atmosphere. Areas around the university are filled with student apartments, restaurants, libraries, and cultural venues that keep the city active day and night. Shopping and modern retail are also concentrated in newer districts. Large department stores such as El Corte Inglés and modern shopping centers provide a different experience from the traditional markets of the historic center. These areas include cinemas, international fashion brands, and restaurants that reflect the lifestyle of contemporary Spain. Another important modern feature is the development along the Guadalquivir River. New parks, pedestrian paths, and bridges connect different parts of the city and create green spaces where residents jog, cycle, or simply enjoy the Andalusian climate. The riverbanks have been redesigned to combine nature with urban life. Modern Cordoba also includes growing residential districts such as Ciudad Jardín and the newer outskirts where apartment complexes, schools, and sports facilities continue to expand. These neighborhoods show how the city has adapted to population growth while maintaining a relaxed Mediterranean pace of life. What makes modern Cordoba interesting is the balance between past and present. Within just a few minutes you can move from contemporary boulevards and shopping streets to centuries-old courtyards and monuments. The city continues to grow and modernize, yet it still keeps the calm, walkable atmosphere that defines life in southern Spain. truly loved our time in Cordoba. Walking through its historic streets felt like traveling through centuries of culture, where Roman, Islamic, and Spanish traditions blend beautifully together. The atmosphere of the old city, the patios filled with flowers, and the warm spirit of the people made every moment unforgettable. One of the most breathtaking places is the magnificent Mezquita Catedral de Cordoba, a masterpiece of architecture that reflects the city's unique history. But beyond its monuments, Cordoba charms visitors with its relaxed pace, delicious food, and magical evenings along the Guadalquivir River. If you ever have the chance, we warmly recommend visiting Cordoba. It is a city that captures your heart and leaves you with beautiful memories that last long after you leave.